All right, here we are at the Orange County Convention Center, the final day of 2014 BPAA Bowl Expo, and with us right now from 12 Strike, we have Mr. Gregg Pastiora.
12 Strike, you betcha.
12 Strike.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely great to have you. And being one of our sponsors is also another reason that we like to have you here with us.
Well, you know, we've been together now for a while, and we appreciate everything you fellas do to promote the game, the sport of bowling, and anything we can do to promote the game, we're behind it. So,
well, it all
Susie's the best.
Susie's great. She loves the sport. Ron's a lifer, you know, like me. He's been in it most of his life, so absolutely, it's a pleasure to be here at Bowl Expo. Love mixing with the people and talking to them, and always hear about this. One thing, like I've talked about this before with you guys about 12 Strike, is we listen to what the customer wants, what's important to them. It's not what's important to us; it's important to the customer and how to help them promote their business and manage it, so forth.
Yeah, because my first really thought on the whole company was I'm walking along, I see this 3D TV, and well, that's great, and then it evolves and the stuff on the lanes, and now it's really looking at the little balls, I think, as you put it.
Well, yeah, small balls.
Small balls. Yeah.
Yes. Our system is actually it is not the 12 Strike system, but we are partners, so we work together. It's a mini lane. Or the parent company's Infinity Bowl, and we've partnered. Steve Hickerson and I started in this industry when we were, in our 20s, and have a friendship and a love for the game of bowling. And Steve product takes bowling outside the bowling industry. Can still be inside it, but we can be outside it in a lot of different venues. So the mini lane here, excuse me, in our booth is extremely popular, and in fact, he sold that lane on the trade show floor yesterday afternoon. And
it's exciting. You did buy it
to somebody not in the bowling industry that was here with a friend. So yeah.
Wow, very nice. Because
it puts bowling in places where bowling can't be. And it reminds people how much fun it is.
Yeah, exactly. Because people get away from the game for a while. And
we had a couple of, I won't say their names, we had a couple professional bowlers, actually we had 4 of them yesterday, bowling on it. There was a pot game going.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, towards the end of the day, it was pretty fun to watch them. Yeah.
So without going in a 1099 information, there was a winner?
There was a winner, but it is not 1099 worthy, but it was fun to watch them, and it was a pretty good crowd. So,
yeah, because the pins are on strings.
Yes, they are.
Very low maintenance. So you said it was someone outside the industry, so it can go into somebody's house. It can go into a local tavern, a game room, anywhere.
Anywhere, absolutely. We have we're talking to the cruise lines right now, a lot because I'm in Florida, and the thing about 12 Strike, along with Mini Lane, Infinity Bowl, is that every lane or every pair of lanes needs an automatic score. And that's where 12 Strike comes in. So we have basically rewrote software to manage a small or mini lane, because the string machine is a totally different mechanism than the traditional Brunswick pin setter or AMF pin spotter. So now we have time bowling where you can take tokens. You can have redemption if a place is a redemption, an FEC, if you will, tickets that will come out depending on the score. So we've opened it up even more so to make it even more fun for the user.
And very low maintenance. The spring using the string pins, very low maintenance.
Extremely, much lower, energy efficient compared to the traditional machines. Also, it's very quiet. The only thing is USBC can't get sanctioning for leagues or tournaments and such, but most of the places that buy the string machine, it's about fun. It's about recreation.
But the University of Nebraska, they have the full-blown version, regulation pins, but strings.
That's exactly correct. I mean, you can buy a string machine for 10 pin, and the University of Nebraska does have that, and their team does do practice on that. Their tournaments are in the local center, but they do practice on it. And again, it's very efficient for the school, and I wouldn't be surprised if more university teams look at things like that in the future.
According to
But very cost effective.
according to Bill Straub, the coach, pretty much the only maintenance is changing out the strings.
Yeah, you need to maintain the strings, and there's some things inside the plastic to keep the strings from tangling up. But as long as you take care of that and watch that, you're basically good to go.
Now,
And they all need scoring, so that's what I like about it. It could be 20 feet long or 60 feet long.
now going back to the scoring, one of the centers I bowl at, I don't know if it's the original scoring system from 12 strike, but in the game things evolve. So right now, what kind of bells and whistles can people look at on a 12 strike scoring system?
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, the 12 strike started like the other companies and uses the DOS system. The Windows technology is taken over for everybody. We are the only company that have a standard touch screen. We don't have any kind of keypads or things like that. It's touch screen technology. Other companies, that's an upgrade. Ours is standard. Another thing that's really nice about dealing with 12 strike is that the owner, Ron Richmond, also owns his own metal fabrication shop. So he makes all the pedestals. He makes the brackets that the LCDs or LEDs hang on. So quality control is at a very high level because he doesn't let things go out of his shop unless they have his stamp of approval. And he sets a pretty high standard for himself. So the beauty of all of that is that the customer, and I just signed a customer in Kentucky, one of the things they liked and the reason they bought from us is that they get to help Ron design their own pedestals. So they can look at the shape, they can look at what's on it, the colors. So that I didn't think was going to be a very big selling point, and I've been, as a professional salesperson, I look for every advantage I can, of course. And that has really become a focal point of part of the sales presentation is the actual cosmetic look of the pedestal for the proprietor's use, and the ease of operation for the bowler.
They're using Windows 8?
We are right now with Windows 7.
Okay.
But if one thing that 12 strike does is when you buy the system for the management control, if you have Windows Pro or 7 on your desktop in the back, we give you the back office free because there's no hardware involved.
Right.
And that's another thing about 12 strike. We're self-contained. We're the gold standard USA. We're the only company that's basically everything is USA. We have our own programmers. Everything is made in the USA that we produce. And so we can listen to the customer. And if somebody wants something a little bit unique for their own center, when our programmers have time, they can fulfill those needs, which is another custom thing for an individual centers.
Yeah, because you see all these FECs with these great motifs inside the center, or larger centers that are converting part of their centers over to a private. So you're going to have these interior decorators that doesn't work. So now they can go in and work with your team.
Oh, yeah.
And say, well, we want these colors, we want these shapes, we want this material. Go for it.
They can go for it, and the one thing about Ron is he always listens to the customer. He's that's one of the reasons that attracted me to working with him, is that he and my training has always been listen to the customer. I do some sales training, and I always teach the sales people that the after the sale is more important than the sale itself, because if you sell something to somebody and they're not happy and it's below standard or what they were expecting, the chances on selling again are not going to be very good. So Ron sets a very high standard, and he listens to the customers, and that's what 12 Strike's about, is giving the customer what they're asking for, and not necessarily us saying this is what you should have. You know, and the other thing is that we consider them family if they buy and invest with us. They are part of the family, and we treat them like that as best we can.
Yeah, so currently with 12 Strike, but it seems like we're always a result of everything that we've been through. So you've been through Steltronic.
I have worked for Steltronic. Yeah, I've worked for Brunswick, and then I worked with Steltronic for several years.
Okay.
And kind of went independent after that. I like the independence because I represent other things. And wind up, Ron called me one day, and we got together, and I had met him when I wasn't selling electronics. My background's more chemistry, and but I always thought that Steve at Mini Lane Infinity and Ron would be a good fit. And both of them have unique personalities, so getting those guys together, it took a little bit of time. But we're all kind of like, it's like a frog, trying to live inside a blender that's been turned on puree. Every day's not dull,
yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. So I do have experience with other systems in the industry, yeah.
And another resume part, International Bowling Lane Specialist?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. NAIR is a trade organization. Their logo has been very recognizable within the industry. It's 44 years old. Well, the base of that association was about lane resurfacing, safety, and things like that. And over the years, synthetic lanes have basically taken over the industry. At one time, we had about 125 members of NAIR. It's down to about 25 to 30. And it really comes a time when you have to understand that it's time to say goodbye. And I was fortunate enough and honored to be elected as president of the association 5 years ago. And I thought the very first thing in my presidency was and I knew NAIR was coming to an end. I knew it was wrapping up. But I wanted to be the president because the first thing I wanted to do is make sure that NAIR is remembered in the Hall of Fame. And working with Keith Hamilton and Bob Gudorf and Pat Sinello and the board of directors, they gave us, NAIR, a spot, a wall, if you will, in the technologies section of the hall, and a plaque that basically, in a couple of paragraphs, describes what NAIR was. I mean, these guys have sanded over 1 million linear feet. And if you think about it, that's a lot of wood over the years. And it basically is a dedication to those guys. And guys like, I name a few of them, Bob Gudorf, who's out of Minnesota, Vern Santon's out of St. Louis, Dave Schomp out of the Boston area, Pat Lynn out of Washington. I can go on with these guys. They were truly the caretakers of the industry, and the bowling industry actually gave them that name. They didn't give themselves. So we're wrapping up the NAIR. I'm awarding, after this show, $15,000 to the Hall of Fame and dedicating it to the Hall.
Nice.
Yeah. All these guys love bowling, and I knew almost every one of them, and they'd be very proud. And for the ones that are still out there working, and they all know what's going on, and they're all very proud to do it. So it's my honor to be the guy that gets to do it.
Yeah, and for those that hear the word NAIR, that is not the hair removal system we're talking about.
No, I thought it was when I first heard it too, but no, it's the resurfacer installers. It's an international organization, and gentlemen all, unique to say the least. Really hard-working guys, really hard-playing guys, and it was my honor to be their president. So I'm getting real emotional about it, actually.
If I'm correct, the National Association of Independent Resurfacers?
That's really what the call it. We changed the name to Equipment Specialists the last few years, but NAIR has been known as that. So NAIR used to exhibit here, used to have a booth and everything, used to give away, somebody would win free sanding for their center and things like that, and they gave a lot of money back to the industry, and big supporters. So what better way to go out is to support it and give it to the hall, BVL, and for the veterans and for youth bowling too. So
BVL being right across the
aisle
right
there.
from us.
There they
Hey.
Hello.
So, Gregg, how do they go about contacting the company, 12 Strike?
You can contact. The best way to do it is on our our email address, which is 12strike.com. We can go to our web page. Our web page is going to be, or is in the middle of being completely redone.
Right.
And we all, so that's the two ways to do it. Either go to the website or just email us direct, 12 Strike. Gregg at Gregg at 12strike.com.
Info at 12 Strike still working?
Absolutely.
They didn't get anything, information, and you'll help them out.
We'll help them out any way we can. That's what we do.
That's the numerals 12 strike, or
Yes.
spelled out, or Roman numerals.
Gregg at 12strike.com.
12 strike.
Right.
Easy
Or
enough.
Susie or Ron, whoever. Yep.
Find
12strike.com. Right.
Thanks, Greg, for coming on.
Love to be here. Thanks for having
All
me.
right. Bye-bye.